Welcome back, Recliner Sports Reporters, to another week's episode of Knockout Bets Podcast. This is Mac, and with me, as always, and Andrew. Andrew, what is up, my guy? You getting excited for this weekend, or what?
You better believe it. You better believe it. This is my favorite holiday weekend of the year. So, yeah, we're definitely pumped over here.
Dude, I'm so pumped. I can't wait. I can't wait to get up there. Can't wait to have about a dozen hot dogs. I hope you have enough hot dogs ready for your boy.
We're stocked up. We're ready to go.
I'm literally – that's going to be the content for this weekend, is every hot dog Mac puts down.
Hot dog eating contest.
Till he pukes. Recliner Sports Report, first one ever. I should get a trophy before then, a little hot dog trophy. What is up? Dang, dude, it's good to see you again. Welcome back. So for those of you who don't know, Andrew and I, we live in two separate places. Andrew lives over in Albany, the Troy, New York area, over in upstate. I live over in Boston, Mass. So we used to work together, and where we're at now, we were able to collaborate and do something that we both enjoy and be able to connect with. So that's why we're always on Zoom, and we're doing this thing split screen. But I can't wait to make some content with you this weekend, buddy. It's going to be a fun one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get on the TikToks and this, that, and the other thing.
Everyone loves it.
We'll get some cameos from the people at the party this weekend. Oh. We'll get some fun stuff.
We gotta pre-warn them. Camera will be out. We'll keep it appropriate, but
yeah, we'll have cornhole.
Yeah,
we'll
right.
Have fire. We'll have who knows what's gonna happen. That's the beautiful thing about a full day long 4th of July party.
Yeah, and
you never know what's gonna happen. And
what number is this? What number one is this for you now?
4, I think.
So this is number 4 of July 4th. This one's a big one. All right.
Yeah.
The annual. We'll call it now the Recliner Sports Report 4th of July Bash.
Yeah.
One day.
I don't know how my wife would take that one, but
one day when we have a giant mansion somewhere, we'll be able to scale this thing even bigger.
There you go.
Andrew knows how to throw a 4th of July. That is like, you pick.
Well, thanks. We try.
Andrew's 4th of July party. Nothing's beating it. All right. With that being said, though, not only do we got that going on this weekend, but on that Saturday, another good reason to talk about, we have an epic fight card coming up. We have Israel Adesanya, the last style bender, fighting a savage in Jared Cannonier. It is going to be absolutely wild. I think I know how the fight's going to happen, but Jared Cannonier is such a dangerous man. But the first fight of the night, we're going to pick the match 5, 3, 2, and 1 on the main card. So the first fight that we want to talk about, that we are excited for, and how can you not be excited for, the return of the Suga Show. Every time Sean O'Malley steps in the cage, it is going to be something highlight worthy. He'll be facing Pedro Munhoz. Andrew, talk to me. What's your opinions on this one?
Yeah, this is a super, super fun fight. We all know Sean O'Malley. He's tall and lanky for the division. He's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage and a 5-inch height advantage in this fight. I think that's not to be discounted. This is definitely his biggest test to date. This is the first ranked fighter he's fought in his career. He's even talked about, I show up for, a fight and I get paid what I get paid, no matter whether I'm fighting somebody who's good or somebody who's easy. So this is a step up in competition, which is exciting for him. Munhoz, he's 1-4 in his last 5, but I have to pop this up and read it, because who those last 5 are, 2 of them I remember off the top of my head is Jose Aldo and Dominic Cruz, and the other 2 losses were killers also. I think one of them was Frankie Edgar, while my computer is being slow here. And correct. And the other one was Aljamain Sterling, current champion of the division. So yes, he's lost 4 out of 5, but he has lost to all-time greats in those fights and beat Jimmy Rivera in the middle of that. So that 1-4 does not look so bad when you read the names of who that's against. And going back before that, he was after Dillashaw knocked out Cody Garbrandt twice, then Munhoz knocked Cody Garbrandt out in Garbrandt's next fight. So yeah, Garbrandt. I'm talking about Munhoz. That's who we're here to talk about today. And we don't really know what happened, but something happened where Cheeto deaded his leg, and that was basically the beginning of the end. He deaded his leg with leg kicks, and so it's something just to be a little bit wary about. Munhoz also has really solid jiu-jitsu, so I think he'll perhaps have a slight grappling advantage in this fight. We haven't really seen a whole lot of grappling out of O'Malley in the UFC so far. The X factor to me, though, there's a few. Let's talk about Sean O'Malley first. He's obviously an incredible striker. He uses distance well. He switches his stances well. He's super fast, super accurate. Maybe not the most power of all time, but he moves well and snipes his punches and kicks really well. He has a huge strike differential. He gives over 8 strikes per minute and takes less than 4. And Munhoz, we listed off the killers that he's fought, so it comes with a little grain of salt, but Munhoz's strike differential is negative. He takes more strikes than he gives. And I think between the quickness of Sean O'Malley, the movement, the reach advantage, the striking advantage, I think this is Sean O'Malley all day. Where I've gone with the bet, because I've mentioned like 4 times now, I can't shut up about it, how Munhoz has won 4 in his last 5 but lost to 4 killers. None of those guys finished him. And I don't think myself that Sean O'Malley is going to be the first guy to go out there and finish him. So I found a bet that I absolutely love for this fight, which is Sean O'Malley by decision. It's plus 200. So you're looking at Sean O'Malley's money line right now around like minus 300 or so. By decision, you're swinging that all the way to plus 200. Yeah, there's the chance he knocks him out. Yeah, there's the small chance that he loses the fight. But I love that value at plus 200 on the decision.
Yeah, same here, man. That's super good odds for that line.
You just froze up on me for a second there.
You there again?
Yeah, I'm here. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I really like that plus 200 decision. Yeah, I think this is Suga Sean's show all day. Pedro's a great fighter, but Sean O'Malley is so quick. His combinations and the way he feints and what he's throwing and what he's setting up to throw, I think he's very, very stylistic in his fighting skills. And it's really hard to, track and download the information on what he's going to do because he's always throwing different stuff. Every time you see Sean O'Malley, although, yeah, he's always quick, but he's always throwing different combinations and different moves. He keeps you guessing, and it's hard for you to get a read on him. So I think that's his advantage here. I do think this, his loss against Cheeto, injuries happen, man. And I when you're fighting at that high level and you get injured, like, yeah, you're going to lose. And some people can come back and win that stuff, but like, when you're at that high level, injuries do matter, and I think that was the reason why not. I think he was fighting a good fight up until then, So
yeah,
I'm taking Sean O'Malley all day on this one. I think I'm curious now, what is the knockout line?
Let's pop that up and take a look.
Because I could see myself doing doubling down and doing the decision and the knockout and getting both ends of this thing.
I mean, if you're looking at both plus money, I mean, the chances that he wins the fight by submission are next to 0.
No.
It would be the old club and sub kind of thing. It would be he stuns him and then he just sinks in a choke because Munhoz doesn't know what's going on. The KO TKO line, the best one that I'm seeing here on Best Fight Odds, FanDuel has plus 160 on KO TKO. So that's an interesting way to look at it, to bet the decision and bet the knockout. And there are some books out there that also will give you a line for the double chance to say, I think FanDuel is one who does it, to say O'Malley wins by KO TKO or decision. So that's that's a good thought. I like that way of looking at this one because
taking both sides of that.
Yeah, he is probably going to win that fight, and he's probably going to win it one of those 2 ways. and I really like that. I think I might go look for that line on FanDuel of what it is to win by KO, TKO, or decision. Might take a look at that one and
Go FanDuel.
possibly put a
Shout,
little bet on there. I like your thinking.
shout out FanDuel. Yeah, every now and again I have a good thought, you know. All
Give
right.
yourself a little more credit.
All right, next up. So that was Sean O'Malley. Like I said, I'm excited to see the Sugar Show. I know we're both rocking with him. So again, I'm just super excited. I love him and Patty. Anytime they're on the fights, you want to tune in because it's exciting and it's fun. All right, next up, we have another crazy one. And speaking about entertaining, he is really, especially this last press conference, he is really doing as much as he can to stir up some
I
emotion.
just saw that right before we got on here.
Same. Oh, man, we're talking about Mr. Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira, the only person to knock out Israel Adesanya, by the way. We're seeing Alex back in the cage. He's having a pretty quick turnaround since his last fight. But go ahead. What's your thoughts on this one there, Andrew?
Yeah, man, I'm all over the place on this one, and I already put a bet in, and I'm kind of second guessing myself now, and I put a decent size bet in that I'm second guessing, but let's talk it through anyway. So Strickland is known for being a really good boxer. He's got a strong jab. He's got really good volume. He presses forward. He'll get in the pocket with just about anybody, put the pressure on him. He's got decent power, even if it's not the greatest of all time. But the absolute key to this fight for him is he has to go back and remember what he did against Uriah Hall and hope that he can do the same thing in this fight, because Pereira is one of the best kickboxers in the entire world. You mentioned it. He knocked out Israel Adesanya in a kickboxing match, and this is a total setup for if Pereira beats Strickland, and assuming Izzy wins too, then we're going to see Pereira and Izzy round 3, this time in MMA. There's going to be so much hype. I'm into it. I'm as the particular kind of fan of MMA that I am, I think they're rushing Pereira to a title shot for a storyline, and I'm not a huge fan of that because there are other guys that are out here winning fights and deserving title shots, and maybe not in the 180-pound division, 185-pound division, because Izzy has done a pretty good job of clearing it out. So maybe I can see the argument of Pereira's new blood. He beat him twice in kickboxing, knocked him out once. But anyway, that's just my personal narration. Is I kind of, as much as Strickland's like a total nut job, to put it mildly, I do want to see him win the fight because I think he's the guy that deserves the title shot, where Pereira is kind of just getting rushed to it because everybody wants to see him fight Izzy in MMA. Yeah. And I would really like to see Pereira, even if he did win this fight, win at least one more fight before he's deserving of a title shot in my mind. And I get that the story's fun, and I get all that. So I'm not trying to be a downer on that because I'll be pumped and I'll be here for it if it happens. But just the way that the sport should go, in my mind, needs one more win before he's getting a title shot, but I get the story. Anyway, mentioned one of the best kickboxers in the world, hits super hard. He's got like probably the best power in the division. Great kicks, total one-hitter quitter power with arms, legs, elbows, fists. He can get hit a little bit on the feet, so that's definitely something to watch out for against a guy that's as good a boxer as Strickland is. But Strickland, I do not think, wants to stand and trade with this guy. Pereira is also going to have a 4-inch reach advantage, which I think matters. And I never looked this up, but you might have it somewhere. I'm sure he probably has a leg reach advantage too. And I have already put in a decent sized bet on Sean Strickland. I put that in at plus 100. I thought even money, let's go. I like those odds. If Strickland can come out and wrestle and he can actually get the fight to the ground and do what he did against Uriah Hall, I think it could be, I mean, every single round starts again on the feet, so you've always got to be worried about that one hit quit power. But I could see Strickland pressuring, using the wrestling, using clinch control, pushing pushing Pereira up against the side of the fence and grinding out a decision win. The more I think about it, though, the more I study, the more I go back and watch the old fights for both of them recently, though, I'm definitely second guessing myself on that one. I might hedge it with Pereira KO. I think that's a strong possibility. I've got to figure out what I'm going to do, but I've already bet Strickland. If you tell me, tell it with little confidence because I'm second guessing myself.
Well, here I am. I'm here to bring you back up, buddy. Look, I think Alex Pereira is a great fighter. I think he's a very skilled striker, but I think Sean Strickland's just a dirty, downright dirty dude. Now, to get back to your point on the leg reach, he does have a 3-inch leg reach advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. So definitely the longer fighter. But I think Sean is going to wrap that up and take this fight just like he did against Uriah Hall, and he's going to get this man on the ground. He's going to bully him. He's going to smother him. He's going to work the ground and pound. He's going to play this thing smart, and then when he gets to the ground, he's going to be very dominant. I think this is it for Pereira. I think, yeah, maybe you can see him match up with a couple other guys, but I think this is lights out or game over for Pereira on this fight, and I think this is going to have set enough for Strickland versus Adesanya after Izzy wins his fight.
I'm glad to hear you say that with me sitting here second guessing myself.
Don't worry, buddy. Dude, I'll tell you what, I remember sitting at MGM Casino betting against this man and watching him and I love Uriah Hall. I do. Watch him just smother such a beast of a man Uriah Hall's also a dangerous striker and also very powerful. I don't think Pereira is going to be able to handle it. He's long. He's going to throw a long kick. Sean's going to eat it up. He's going to tabletop him over or treetop him over, and then all of a sudden he's going to be on the ground. He's going to smother him. He's going to smother with the wrestler. He's going to have, I'd say, here's an over-under bet that you'd like to find. Over-under 10 minutes of control time on the ground.
That's 10 minutes is a lot. I love that you're thinking that way. So let me throw out a crazy one that I've been thinking about too is – Strickland by submission, plus 1,100 you can get. That might be worth the little sprinkle right there.
What?
Plus 1,100 line.
You're gonna hear from this podcast first. We're taking it. I'm taking it. I'd like
Let's
that.
Do it. Let's sprinkle a little.
Because why not?
$2 on that one.
Because when we can, we will. And if we will, we can. And the famous words of Thomas Shelby.
It seems like a good number. Like saying that the fight plays out that way only 1 out of 12 times. I think it plays out that way more often than 1 out of 12 times. So I think it's actually an intelligent bet. I don't think it's just throwing shit at the wall.
I don't either. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Well, again, I know we got one more day of listening to these guys talk, so it's going to be fun to hear what Sean's going to have to say for tomorrow. But he is not holding back, and I think he's, again, trying to hype everyone up about the Sean Strickland train. All right, next up, we got the trilogy that everyone's been waiting for. We got Volkanovski versus Holloway. This is a fight that all of us want to see, and if you don't want to see it, you're absolutely crazy. We all love Max Holloway. We all respect Alexander the Great. This is going to be a great matchup. The fact that it's not its own headlining event is wild. But nonetheless, Andrew, give me your picks on this one.
This is such a great card because if not for this fight, easily the last one that we just finished talking about would be the people's main event on this card. But this has to be the people's main event on this card, this fight right here. Technically, by the judges who were in the arenas on the days, Volkanovski is up 2-0 in 2 epic fights. I did think Volkanovski won the first fight. I do think Max Holloway won the second fight and got robbed. In my mind, we're sitting here 1-1. And this is fight number 3. And this is also 2 guys who are in the primes of both of their careers. They are both all-time greats. They are pushing each other to be better, I think. I think if one or the other of them didn't exist, the other one might not have been raised to as high a level as they are, because they are head and shoulders above the rest of the division. They are just absolute total savages, both future Hall of Famers. This is just an epic fight, and honestly, I hope Holloway wins. I hope we get to see him fight again. I would watch them fight each other and never fight anybody else for like the next 3 years until they're not in their primes anymore. What is there even to say about them? They're both incredibly well-rounded everywhere. Both incredible gas tanks. We've seen them go 5 rounds with each other. We've seen them go 5 rounds in other fights and both be strong towards the end of the fights. Holloway is really long. He's got great striking, tons of volume, comes with great game plans. I mean, you could say almost all of those same things about Volk, except that he's not long. Great movement. Volk also has great movement. It's hard to say who has an advantage in the grappling. I think Volk probably has a slight advantage in the grappling. He did take Holloway down twice in fight number 2, and does look to, generally in his career so far, mixed in the takedowns a little bit more. But we saw a little bit of an evolution of Max Holloway in his most recent fight against Yair Rodriguez, and he had 3 takedowns in that fight. So it's clear that he's been thinking about and working on that part of his game as well. So both guys, amazing strikers. I mean, the performance that Holloway put on against Calvin Kattar, where he landed like over 400 significant strikes, that's such an epic fight for Kattar to stay in there for that and not get put away, and for Max to dominate him the way that he did. I am going not super confidently, because I think we can see a third fight just like the first 2, where it's really, really close, and no matter who wins, maybe it's even a split decision, that you have people crying robbery no matter who wins or loses. And I think in that sort of instance, when you have one guy that you can get plus 175 on, when I'm looking at it as pretty close to a coin flip, I've got to take the plus 175, and that's Max Holloway.
You got to. And here's the deal. Volkanovski is a great warrior. He is Alexander the Great for a reason. But Max Holloway is coming back for revenge. And this is the justice story, if you've ever seen one. Max Holloway said it in his presser. This thing's not going to the judge's decision this time. And I don't think he's wrong. I think Volkanovski can take some punches, and I think it's going to be tough for Holloway to go down there. But Holloway's going to piece him down. He's going to chisel him away, and he's going to get that finish. That man has increasingly volume. He doesn't take a lot of damage. I do think Volk he takes damages in his fight as much as he delivers damages. I think Holloway is going to attack the head, body, and have great kicks, and he's going to really, really do a good job on getting Volkanovski and knocking him out before this fight's over. With all due respect to Volkanovski, I think he's a great warrior. I could see this thing going the distance, but I just really don't think Holloway wants to risk this time, and he's going to be upping the volume. See, that's the thing. Holloway doesn't take a lot of damage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's very elusive. He's quick. This guy, he's going to fight hard, and you're going to see this man come away, I think, with his robbery and come back and say, hey,
get his belt back.
Get his belt back. And then let's go see him do it for 4. And then when it goes 2-2, like NBA
then
playoffs,
fight.
Maybe we go NBA playoffs with them. All right. I don't know. All right. Either way.
mean, who is there? Like, they've both beaten Ortega. Like, the 2 of them are like combined cleaning out the division. Like, yeah. Holloway just beat Yair Rodriguez. Volkanovski just beat the Korean Zombie. Like, who's even there next? I mean, I'm asking that not as like a statement. I'm asking that as like a real question.
Is it Emmett? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it probably is Emmett, and I'm a huge fan of Emmett. But do I think he deserves a title shot off of beating Calvin Kattar when I thought Kattar actually won the fight?
And is that the fight you
really?
And do you want that fight?
No,
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
because I think whichever one of these guys wins on Saturday, not that it would be light work because Emmett's tough, but we're going to be looking at a minus 700 favorite, whichever
Yeah.
guy it is.
Oh yeah. So I'm pumped for this one. Again, another one. This one, unfortunately, is not free. This is the one you wish it was free.
They make you pay for this one.
As they should. All right, our last fight of the night, we have the last style bender versus Jared Cannonier. Israel Adesanya coming in at a pretty large favorite, minus 410, against the heavy bomber Jared Cannonier, coming at a pretty big underdog at plus 330. Andrew, where do you even start? Where do you even
I don't
begin?
think that line is wrong. I think that line's right on. I think this is Izzy all day. I think the only question that you're looking at is, do we get point fighting Izzy, who just kind of pieces him up for 5 rounds, but doesn't really ever go for the kill, or do we get Izzy that eventually figures it out and KOs or TKOs him? Izzy's going to have a 5-inch height advantage, which I thought was interesting in this one. We talk about Pereira being an amazing kickboxer. Izzy's right there with him. Yes, he lost to Pereira twice in kickboxing, and so what does that make him? A top 5 kickboxer in the whole world if Pereira's up there at number 1 or close to. Like I mentioned, though, sometimes he does get into these just pop, land a couple, move out of the way, point fighting. Like the most disappointing, I don't know if it's the most, that might be an overstatement. One of the most disappointing fights to me of all time was when Izzy fought Yoel Romero, and neither one of them
and everyone
did
agrees
anything for
everyone
5 rounds. And those two dudes are such explosive, exciting fighters, and nothing happened.
I could see this happening again.
Definitely. It's definitely possible. Izzy has 77% takedown defense. Cannonier's offensive wrestling really isn't that great. And if there's sort of one way to beat Izzy, it's the way that Jan Blachowicz actually beat him, and the way that Marvin Vettori and Robert Whittaker have tried to and been unsuccessful. I just think, is Jared Cannonier Robert Whittaker? No. Is he Jan Blachowicz? No. Is he Marvin Vettori? Maybe kind of close, but probably not even. And so that just makes me think, I know, MMA math is not perfect, but I think this is Izzy all day. Interesting about Cannonier, he started in the UFC as a heavyweight. So he then moved down to light heavyweight, and now here he is at middleweight. Cutting down all the way to 185. There's actually something I saw on Twitter of his first fight in the UFC and then today, and it's the before and after pictures that they put on some skeevy supplement of oh, you're gonna lose, you're gonna go from looking like this to being ripped like this in 14 days. He's got that body transformation that's happened over the last few years. He is very good defensively, which I agree with you could lead to a really boring fight. He's got solid kicks. He hits really hard. So there is the outside chance that he just hits that one hit quit shot. But I just think Izzy's got such a speed advantage, such a movement advantage, such a just seeing the fight coming to him advantage. It's Izzy all day for me. I've already parlayed him. I think he's a safe parlay piece, especially because it's last fight of the night. And if you get any kind of spidery, tingly feeling, you can hedge out of it. But I wouldn't even. I'm going with Izzy all day, and quite frankly, I'll be pretty surprised if he loses by anything other than some crazy one punch, just lucky shot.
Yeah, which could happen. Let's be real. It is the UFC.
Why he's not minus 1,000. That's why he's
right.
minus 400.
Yeah. I see this thing playing out just like the Romero fight. But here's the deal. I thought Costa was going to play out just like the Romero fight. And then Izzy went and just knocked him out. Now, that I think also has a little bit to do with Costa's failure to prepare the correct way and his I drink wine. Yeah, like, dude,
Right.
you know what? You look like you were. You're right. And you know what? That's on you for doing that the night before your fight. You know what? That's you. You're
Absolutely
being,
right.
that's not disciplined fighter. So Izzy was going to knock you out either way because you were undisciplined. I think Izzy is doing laps around this division for a reason. It's because he's gonna go down as one of the greatest of all times, if not the greatest. He is he's always pushing himself. I think he's ready and dangerous to go. I think he's gonna have a great game plan. He's so good at not taking damage. He's so good at his defensive wrestling. This man is so good in every aspect of the game. And same thing we were saying about Sean O'Malley. You can't game plan for him because you don't know what he's gonna throw because he has such interesting and deliberate combinations that can mix and match and do things where you weren't expecting things to come out of. And his feint game is so amazing. He even downloads stuff from that he's seen other fighters do and tries to make it his own way. So you're seeing stuff that you haven't seen before. So I like Adesanya all day. I could see an Adesanya knockout. I think, and it's probably not even worth betting because I'm sure everyone else thinks it too, going the distance is probably another probably big favorite to happen. So depending on where the knockout is, that might be the sprinkle line, but I think this thing's going to go a decision. But betting wise, I'm always going to try to get a little bit on the plus money because you want the underdog thing to hit. But I think everyone wouldn't be surprised if this thing would go the distance, and Izzy just kind of keeps that range, points him to death, and gets the 10-9s on all the rounds.
You can still get that at plus money. Actually, you can get plus 120 on Izzy by decision. Izzy by KO, TKO, you can get all the way up to plus 170.
Now I worry about this. This is bad research on my end. How many 5-round fights does Cannonier have?
You know what? That's a really good question. I do
That's
not
bad.
know the answer to that, and we're
That's
running short on time.
That's bad on us. We should know that answer.
His last fight was a 5-rounder, I believe, because it was a main event against Derek Brunson. Yeah. Oh, no. That was a 3-round fight. Was that not a main event? That's bad on me to not remember that because that wasn't that long ago. I don't know. We'll have to post that on Twitter or something because we're starting to run out of time. But, yeah, I mean, to me, Israel Adesanya is the new age Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is, I mean, you can argue about John Jones, George St. Pierre, Fedor, this guy, that guy, but Anderson Silva's got to be in anybody's conversation for the greatest of all time. Yep. And yeah.
That's why where I could see a knockout now happening for Izzy is in the later rounds. Cannonier gassing out and not having it. And that's where I think, again, Izzy is so disciplined where he can keep at range. Jared's going to be explosive, but he's going to maybe get too explosive and he's going to run out of gas. And in that 4th and 5th round, Adesanya is going to show why he is who he is. And he's been in many of these fights. He knows
so
how
to
to
fight. So I'm looking here just real fast. Cannonier did beat Kelvin Gastelum in a 5-round fight. He knocked out Jack Hermanson in the 2nd round in a 5-round fight, so that doesn't really tell you anything, but that's going back the last 3 years, at least 4 years. But anyway, before we lose all the time, let's go with some knockout bets.
All right, my knockout picks. I'm going 2, Suga Sean and Adesanya, baby. Let's get it done. Keep the change on those.
I am with you on one out of those 2. I do think that as the fight wears on, Izzy's is definitely live for the knockout, like you said, in the later rounds, like 3, 4, 5. Once he's able to break down that really good defense that Jared has, I think Izzy's live for any kind of knockout. I mean, it could be a head kick knockout. It could be a straight punch. It could be, he's got strikes from everywhere. So I'm riding with you on that one. Another one that looks interesting to me too is Jalen Turner. I have so little idea what I'm going to do with that fight, but Jalen Turner by knockout is definitely one that I'm eyeing. I don't know if I'm going to bet that. I might even bet Rudell's money line if it goes far enough the other way. That's an absolute. There are so many bangers on this card. I mean, you got Jim Miller and Cerrone in the veterans fight. You got Ian Gary's on the card here. You got Uriah Hall on the early prelims. Macy Barber's on the early prelims. This is an absolute banger of a card. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with Izzy for my knockout bet.
Love it. My lottery ticket is a 4-teamer. It's going to be at plus 600 odds. I'm coming in with Jalen Turner, Sean O'Malley, Ian Gary, and Sean Strickland. I really, really feel confident with those ones. They're all low money lines or low odds, except for Sean O'Malley with the little big one. So I'm definitely liking those 4 fighters for that one.
I like it. If I'm going lottery ticket, I'm definitely putting Brad Riddell in it for this week. I think if he can survive the first round, and that's a big if, because he could definitely get put to sleep in the first round. But if he can survive the first round, I think he's got a good shot. So I'm almost thinking that might be a better live betting spot to wait and see if he does survive the first round or not. But he's out there at plus 125, and I'm getting tempted. If that can move up a little bit and I can get in the plus 140, plus 150 range, I'm probably going to be on Riddell in a lottery ticket. I've got to put Max Holloway in any lottery ticket at plus 175. And had another one, and where'd it go? I'm going dead air here while I search for what I had. And
All right, buddy.
I'm not finding it, but I'll tweet it later. Strickland plus 100 I got. That's not out there anymore. Minus 110 is the best you can get. I do like Barberena at plus odds. Plus 100 is not quite enough for me to jump on it, but if that gets up near plus 120, I might take a little stab at Barberena. But yeah, the two that I'm definitely building a lottery ticket on this week would be Brad Riddell and Max Holloway.
I like that one. Those are good. I'm probably going to tail you on those. Well, I'll be telling you when I'm up there. Can't wait to see you, Andrew. Everyone, please.
Likewise.
Everyone, please have a happy, safe 4th of July. We love you all over at Recliner Sports Report. Thank you all of our Recliner Sports reporters. Don't forget, keep the change.
Keep the change. Happy 4th of July.